Yeah, that's right. Collin Pete from the DMV. Mr. Fingaz. This week in UGA football. Get ready, baby. Let's go.
What's going on, gang? What's going on? What's going on? It is you guys back at it again. I stepped away from my desk for 2 seconds and got caught short. Anyway, how's everybody doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? Those of you up in the cheap seats, how are you guys doing? Welcome to this week's edition of This Week in UGA Football. I am your guy, Mr. Fingaz, coming to you live from Zagnut Central in the 405 where the wind comes whipping down the plane, and that guy over there, he is the one and only. He is the brother from another, the sexy mother Hubbard, the ace of base in the place, in your face. Collin P from the DMV. How are you doing today, bro?
Oh, dude, it's just man, just a couple more days, man. A couple more days. I've been itching, got just a little taste this weekend, man, and can't wait for it. I am ready to get this show on the road, as we say down in the South. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure, and for show. Speaking of getting a little taste, man, college football kicked off in a big way this past weekend. Whoops, that's not the one I was looking for. There it is right there. Georgia Tech and Florida State fly over to the Emerald Isle to take each other on. Georgia Tech comes in unranked after having a turnaround of a season. And Florida State comes in ranked number 10 on the heels of an incredible season that unfortunately wound up in disappointment as they were left. You guys know the story. They got left out of the playoffs, and the fans had a whole bunch of stuff to say, and everybody's suing everybody. Like Eddie Murphy said, this person that did stuff going on all over the club, and at the end of the fight, everybody sued me. So Florida State fans still a little bit salty. Then of course the bowl game. You know the bowl game. You know the one. That one. Yeah. Georgia and Florida State.
But my boy said, FSU said, been a whole lot different. It would have been a whole lot different, you know, had they played, had their starters played. I believe that's what he said. But anyway, go ahead. I digress.
I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say I don't really think so.
Nah, I don't think he does either. But you know,
I mean, it's one of the quite possibly the largest bowl victory. I think the largest margin of victory in a bowl game, in like ever, 63-3, and that's how that went down. And then the unspeakable happened in the eyes of every Florida State fan. They came into Ireland. Mike Norvell led his troops out onto the field, generaled by none other than DJ Uiagalelei. Those of you that are unfamiliar with that name completely, if you're unfamiliar with that name, you have not been following college football. He got the first really, monster NIL deal. He had the commercials with Dr. Pepper and Fanville, the whole nine. Turned out to be a whole big bag. I mean, a really big disappointment. I don't want to call a kid a whole big bag of nothing. I mean, he is a kid trying to get into the league. I'm a grown man that never even sniffed football past middle school, so I'm not going to dog on him. But it was less than what the Clemson faithful full expected. He wound up transferring over to Oregon State. Had a decent little time over at Oregon State, but for some reason decided to transfer back over to the East Coast to Florida State. And we see what happened. They wound up losing to Georgia Tech. Final. God, I can't talk today. They wound up losing to Georgia Tech as the time expired as Georgia Tech kicked the game-winning field goal. And Florida State fans are very, very salty about that, as you can imagine.
All that being said, man, you can't deny it. It was a great game. I mean, it was an absolutely great game there toward the end, all the way from start to finish. I mean, then it got me, man, was FSU came out with like a house fire. They ran down there, scored, and then went for the deuce right off the jump. You know what I mean? And then you could just tell that. I mean, I guess I posted something in the group chat there that they were mad or whatever, PO'd. But not only that, their kicker's got a leg on him, don't he? I mean, that 59-yarder. I mean, goodness.
59 yards, dude. I mean, and the first one that he kicked was 54, if I'm not mistaken. And that one had, when they showed the replay, the slow-mo from a different angle, he cleared the goalpost easily by 10 yards or so. He had another 10 yards in height, and he had another 5 or 10 yards on the back end. And
that's why I was wondering if they had that light air that they got at the Mile High Stadium. I asked Sean, I was like, they got that thin air over there, and I don't know how that weather is over there, but he put the boot to that ball and had plenty to spare.
He did. That first one was good Lord, where is it? I got it right here. I clicked it and it went away. I swear to God, I have owned a computer in my past, people. I know how to work a computer. But that, you know what? It's the mouse. Time for me to replace the mouse. I went and got a mouse pad, and that's not working either. So, yeah, he kicked. Oh, yeah, Roydell Williams was not even a factor in the game at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but then he kicks a 59-yarder. That kid's got a leg. Hope that he stays. The only thing I can say is hope that he stays healthy, because we know another kid. We both know another kicker that had a cannon for a leg that unfortunately is no longer playing in the league. Shout out and respect the Specs. Our man Goggles from University of Georgia. Respect the Specs. I mean, hell of a kicker, and had a great career.
Yes, sir.
And that hip injury sent him home. But anyway, I digress. Georgia Tech reigns supreme. I will say this: this is not your granddaddy's Georgia Tech team. I know we're supposed to be talking Georgia football. We'll get there in a minute, but no, this is not your Georgia Tech team. So
we got them on the schedule too, so we can talk about them. We got them on Good Friday, so we can talk about them a little bit. But I mean, yeah, this showed me a little bit of difference. Not a little bit of difference, a lot of difference than the Georgia Tech Bowl. But yeah, you're right.
100. That's a 100 right there. So we get the air horn there for Georgia Tech. Congratulations to them on their first victory. Florida State, a lot of work to do that we can see already. I mean, they got pushed around on offense and on defense. And as you know, the ACC, I mean, you still got other teams in the ACC to face that are going to be more formidable than Georgia Tech. All right, moving on here. Keeping it moving, because we moving right on along today. Y'all know it. The Dogs are coming to Atlanta in another home game. Not that we got home field advantage, but another home game against Clemson in a replay of the 2021 season opener. This time, and instead of DJ Ugalele, we got Cade Klubnik starting for Clemson. And Carson Beck starting for Georgia. Collin, why don't you go ahead and give us your 2 cents on what you think we expected from this game?
Oh man, it's going to be like that. It's going to remind me a lot, I think, of the Oregon game last year. It's going to be a test. It's going to be a testament of how the season, or probably a game that kind of sets the tone for the rest of the season, I think. Just we get out there, it is quote unquote our home game, but I honestly, I mean, we'll cut the short story here. I think we're going to do all right. I think we'll beat them. I don't know I think what it's going to amount to is everybody's going to have that adrenaline pumping, because first game of the season they'll have adrenaline pumping. It may be maybe a tight game there first, few minutes or so, maybe first quarter, second quarter. But I'm expecting a good game. How about yourself? I mean, we'll go a little bit depth, but what do you think?
I think that, well, one thing I can definitely say is that Georgia, the squad feels like they have some unfinished business after
That's
last
true.
year. That
Very true.
SEC championship definitely, and for the returning players on the squad, unfortunately, they won't get their redemption against St. Nick because now he's sitting in the booth looking irritated with McAfee on on
Yeah,
Saturday
that was
morning.
that was an amazing duo. That was great, and he was dancing with Miss dancing with the wife there.
Yeah, so I I definitely think they feel like they have some unfinished business, and you're right. If they're going to make a statement, they have to make a statement with the first game, especially coming out against a ranked opponent. We'll get a little
Yeah,
more in depth into who the key players are going to be, but that's what I think the boys are bringing to the table. And I think the dogs are hungry and the dogs want to eat. You know how those guys do every year, and since they're only playing a little bit down the road from Sanford Stadium, that stadium is going to be packed in red and blue.
no,
There's
it's
going
gonna
to
be
be
hot.
there's going to be a little orange there, but it's going to be packed in red and blue. 100%
Clemson travels
packed.
well, man. Clemson travels well for sure, for sure.
That they do. That they 100% do. So, now you and I talked before we came on the air, and one of the things that we mentioned is that a big factor in the game is going to both teams are going to lean heavily on their returning starters. And we got here, as you can see, Georgia has 16 returning starters. Clemson has 11.
Mm.
You know, um, Georgia just completely depleted by the draft. Well, I won't say depleted. They had a lot of good quality players that got picked up that are now playing in the league. And Clemson with 11 starters. So when you're looking at in terms of, I'm going to let you start with the starters that are returning for UGA. So who are some of the guys? Of course, we're going to go ahead and take the main one off the big board. We're going to take Carson Beck. We're going to take Carson Beck off the big board because we know what Carson
Yeah.
Beck can do, and we know that he's going to have to be the general. So we take him off the board. So who, excepting Carson Beck, are you looking for big things from for Georgia this coming Saturday?
Well, main one I'm looking for is ETN, Trevor Etienne there from Florida. He actually has been cleared to play. There was a question mark by him earlier a couple weeks, I guess, and I think it came out today. He's cleared to play. I want to see how he does, how he fares playing for us in the backfield. I got my boy Cash Jones. He's a senior now, so hopefully he'll get a little bit of a little bit of love, a little bit of ball touches, that kind of, and Branson Robinson. You talk a lot about Branson Robinson. So we got them coming back
That's because
for us.
we haven't got to see him play yet. I want to see the man play.
Oh, the man's a brick house. I mean, it's like a Holyfield dude, but he's a little bit taller, isn't he? But I mean, yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want to watch, see him play? I mean, those are the three that I want to see in the backfield. Actually, but then as far as the receivers, we've got D Love. We got D Love coming back. We got Humphreys coming back from. We got him from Vanderbilt. Um, and let's see here. We've got who's the other? We got how can I forget Arian Smith? Arian Smith, he's back, and Ra got into his mess, and then he's been booted off the team. So Colby Young got him from Miami, so I'm anxious to see him. But I was going to go with that. You said return to starters. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm kind of going off the beaten path there, but we kind of Kirby actually dipped into the portal a little bit more than he used to or usually does. You know what I mean? So he
Yeah.
went out and got some people, but those are main like offensive starters that I'm looking forward to. Obviously you got Delp. We're gonna see what he does on his this year. See how he fares. But yeah,
Well,
those are who you got?
No, I was just going to say Oscar Delp has some really big shoes to fill with Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers essentially redefined I won't say he redefined the tight end position, but at least in the eyes of the Georgia faithful, if you don't come with Brock Bowers energy at tight end, you're not going to be the move. So really interested to see what he's going to bring to the table. Somebody else I'm interested in. I don't know if you mentioned this guy or not. I missed it. But Dominic Lovett, who
Yeah, D
transferred in
Love. They call him D
yeah,
Love.
it transferred in from Missouri. He played 14 games last season, and had about 613 yards, which is really good given the fact that he came in, learned a new system, and playing behind Ladd McConkey and Brock Bowers. But
Right.
both of them being a little hindered last season, it was good to have somebody that could come in and give that kind of production. Um,
100%.
so and 4 touchdowns. So he was a great ad. I want to see if he can step up into a more of a leading role this year. So he ranked 7th in SEC receivers last season. So I really want to see what he's going to bring to the table. I mean, just because we've got Carson Beck, I also want to see, you mentioned Delp. I want to see Dylan Bell. I want to see what he brings to the table.
Yep.
He played 14 games last year with 8 starts, and he had 355 yards and 2 touchdowns and a couple of touchdowns running the ball. So, he's a little bit of a dual threat. I want to see what he can bring to the table. You mentioned Colby Young. You mentioned Oscar Delp. Oh, gosh. Can't forget this. Left tackle Ernest Green.
Oh yeah.
That guy
Yeah.
he's gonna be crucial. He's gonna have to keep, because a lot of the starters are gone now, and he's gonna have to keep the defenders off of Carson Beck. So those are probably my 3. And then of course, I've been saying this all along. I want to see Branson Robinson. Branson Robinson, I don't care if you had to get some echinacea. I don't care if you got to get some of that Mucinex, because I don't know if you just got the Green Goblin in you or whatever. Well, actually, you would need Spider-Man for that, but I digress. Just whatever you have to do to stay healthy, mash it, drink it, smoke it, inhale it. Well, don't smoke it, because don't drink anything either, because you'll be getting in trouble for that. But whatever you got to eat, or whatever pill you got to take that you can legally buy over the counter, please take it. Do if you have to do a West African medicine man ritual, whatever you have to do to stay healthy, please stay healthy this year, because we are really excited to see you play, and we really believe that you can be an integral part of this offensive attack.
Yeah,
So that,
absolutely. Let me jump in real quick there. Talking about defense, we got Trust. We got Trust back. He's Xavier Trust. Well, he needs to stay healthy. Ed Ratledge. We need the seniors to kind of got to get them boys ready on that line. And Dylan Fairchild, I guess. He was a big one that I was looking at also. But yeah, main thing is, dude, is injury bug. I mean, that always scares me every year, man. Because we've been bit by it, not the past couple of years or something. Well, yeah, I mean we have, but more so than other years. But yeah, that always bothers me. You know what I mean? But we got some backups. But
yeah, 100%, because I mean, we've had players that have sat out an entire season. Still managed to get drafted, but oh God. He was on the sideline all season last season, and his name is escaping me. Um, from Savannah, and he went to IMG Academy. He was at Savannah Christian, and then he went to IMG Academy and played there.
what position?
He was a D lineman.
D lineman. You're not talking about Trust. No, you're not talking about Trust. That's a good question. Hang on. Stackhouse, no.
No. Well, not important at this point. The point I'm
No.
trying to make is that we have had players that have been injured for an entire season, like a George Pickens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who was injured an entire season and then managed to come in and make 2 or 3 catches before he's kind of like Mariah Carey. He's like he's waiting for playoff season and then he comes out he comes out and does his thing and then when the playoffs are over, he just kind of goes back in the ball. He's doing the same thing.
Yeah. I found who you're talking about, Michael Williams. You talking about Michael Williams?
One of them. It's
Like
I said, not important. But those are the kinds of things that you definitely hit on. That is that you say it every year. That you guys really have to stay healthy. It has been shown, as evidenced last year, that these younger players can step up into these roles because last year was after 2 big draft classes. Last year we had a lot of younger players stepping up into those roles and they still managed to run the table. So it's not that Kirby can't get them there. It's just can these guys play through this season and stay healthy is a big question mark.
I know you said what important about Malachi. You want to talk about Malachi Stark?
No.
Okay. I'll quit.
Let go, man. We gonna be you gonna be guessing like we playing Pictionary the rest of the
Hey, I'm trying to help you, brother. I'm trying to help you.
Hey, man, that's where. Listen, we're man. We are all good. Those of you just joining us, welcome to this week in UGA football. Currently discussing Clemson versus Georgia matchup that is coming up this coming Saturday. Right now, ESPN has the line at 18.5. That's today. It's Monday at 18.5. Georgia's favor with an over/under of 48.5. What you thinking about that, bro?
Well, I'm looking at it right now that people must be betting on Clemson because it went down to 13.5. So we're picked by 13.
Did it
right
really?
Yes, sir.
Well, that happened since we started the show.
I'm looking at the line is Georgia getting 13.5, but the over/under stayed the same, 48.45. So
that's for those of you watching us right now. That happened since the show started because the line was at 18.5. I know this because I put all of these together in the system before we came on the air. Georgia still has a prediction 82.4% chance to win versus Clemson 17.6. Do you think? Let me ask you this question: do you think that the guys really need to watch out for that bug? That we are them bug, because that was a pretty big upset. Well, not really for those of us that watched Florida State and watched how they kind of devolved and branched off. Somebody said something very very poignant on the radio as I was on my way home. They said the thing about Florida State is the difference between Georgia Tech and Florida State is Georgia Tech is a football team. They are a team. And Florida State is a collective group of football players that happen to play for the same organization, but they're a group of individuals that all happen to play for the same team. I think. Do you think? Do you see any possibility of something like that happening? The fellas getting the weird them mentality going into this game, and we've done it before. I mean, Missouri.
no, we have.
Missouri 2022 rolled up into Missouri thinking we had that thing on lock. We took 4 whole quarters of football to pull that one out.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen that early, though. I mean, this is the beginning. I mean, I hope it doesn't, but you know how things tend to come about. I mean, in the middle of the season, if we, how we showed out, like nobody thought we would against Oregon. You know what I mean? We still got something to prove. I would think the guys, and Kirby's not going to let that happen. I mean, like he's going to try his damnedest not to let that happen. And if it does kind of creep in and he sees it, he's going to nip it right then. But yeah, I think honestly, I think we
another one of those Georgia Florida halftime speeches.
but they Dang, you got me in that. Hold on a second. but no, I think that it's something to prove right now. You know what I mean? And once I honestly I think we have a senior leadership. I think we got the guys on the team that I think that can kind of wrangle that kind of mentality if it ever shows up, in. But I mean, I don't know. Like I said, if we start blowing people out, if we start doing that a couple, 2, 3, 4 games, then it's a possibility. You know how it is. But that's a good analogy. I have heard that before, but I've forgotten it. A lot of good football players playing for the same team, and that's
Yeah, they are a group of individuals as part of a collective, and that Georgia Tech is an actual team, a group of guys that come together as a singular group,
yeah.
not a group of individuals that happen to all be there. And that was, oh, you know what? That wasn't on the radio. That was our guy Uncle Lou. Shout out to Uncle Lou. My God.
Okay.
Yeah, that's his saying there. My God, that's one of his 18 sayings. If you have a chance, go scooch on over to the Uncle Lou on YouTube and check out this week's edition of Your Season Is Over. Man, he read Florida State the riot act. But anyway, um, I just that's a concern for me because we've seen that happen. We've seen it creep in. Um, the 2017 season with the SEC championship. You know, and
Yeah.
that was with a I won't say lesser talented group of players because we had some studs playing then too. But
Right.
I think the thing that we were missing was no offense to Mr. Fromm because I love him to death, but a
Oh yeah.
quarterback with the kind of moxie that that our guy, the mailman, brought to the table. But there was a little bit of that, and they paid for it in the SEC championship. Fortunately, got a chance to redeem themselves and get back to the actual CFP championship. We know how that went. Yes, we know. Just be quiet. We know.
Yeah.
For those of you that are out there that happen to not be fans of the Dogs that want to get that jab in there, we know we're Georgia sports fans. We know. Okay, just like 3rd and 26 in the Super Bowl. I will never let that go. Ever.
Well, I
So
mean, go.
redeem yourself, Arthur Blank. I'm gonna give you the Whoopi Goldberg color purple until you do right by me. Uh, anyway, that's just a
But no, I
concern.
was going to say about if we had that concerns. I mean, like look at last year. You know what I mean? Like look at maybe we had that kind of thing going into playing Vanderbilt and Kentucky. We kind of let those games kind of get where they didn't really need to get. You know what I mean? And maybe that kind of brought these guys down to earth, and then they started playing better after that. But hopefully we won't get that this season. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just keep it foot on the gas.
yeah. 100%. I agree with you there. Let's see what's going on here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have kind of hit the halfway mark in the show. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a very brief pause for the cause, and then we will be right back. Please, please, please hold your place. Don't go anywhere. Colin and I will come back. We'll talk more. We will talk more Georgia versus Clemson. And then we want to get into some other stuff because we had some unfinished business from last week that we didn't really get into. So y'all hang tight. We'll be right back. And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Thank you so much for tuning in this week's edition of This Week in UGA Football. Mr. Fingers here, Colin P from the DMV there. We are talking Georgia versus Clemson. we've had some things to talk about. Let's go ahead, Colin. Let's go ahead and get your score predictor for the game. What you think this is gonna do?
Score predictor. I'm looking at it over under. I mean, that looks like. I mean, that's kind of low for me. I'm thinking we're gonna have a little bit higher game than that. I'd say 40. No, hang on. 38 to 10. 38-10.
38-10.
I'm gonna keep it below the over.
I'm gonna go 20. I don't know. I got a feeling that the running backs are going to get out there and get after it. Now I'll talk about why. Well, honestly, looking at last year's, and I know that you can't really depend on last year's stats because we don't have. There's a lot of starters that did not return for us, and Clemson's only got 11 returning starters. But last year we were stacked up pretty good, like eight,
Yeah.
nine, eight ranked eighth and ninth in rush defense and in pass defense. Now rush defense, if the running backs come out and the running game does what it's been designed to do, and then Kirby is able to get the boys to execute it like they have been over multiple seasons, I could see it being a little bit higher. So you're saying 38-10? I'm going to go 47-12.
47-12. So
Yeah, I see Branson. I see Branson catching a crease and breaking one.
Yeah, no doubt. Do you think? I had a question before we move on there. Do you think our secondary? How would you rank, or how would you stack our secondary this year as opposed to last year?
Like I said, we talked about this last week. A lot of young guys, so I'm really going to have to look at this game really hard and see how these guys are playing and give a better synopsis. Give a better synopsis of what I see after that game. Next week when we talk, trust. I'm gonna be like, we love to reference a lot of our favorite content creators at SEC content creators. I will be like our boy Uncle Lou. I will have my copious notes. So yeah, we will be there. I'll definitely have something better to talk about then. But I need to see pad on pad out there on the field first.
It would be nice to see it would be nice to see Malachi get another pick like he did that first game against Oregon, though, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, it sure would. It definitely would. You know what, Sean? We talked about that earlier, but we'll come back and talk about this. Welcoming our guy Sean Spencer to the show in the comment section there. The one half of that dynamic duo that is Let's Talk Football. Yeah, buddy. It's fairly decent Sean Spencer impersonation, except I got a little more James Earl Jones on the back end. Anyway, I digress. Georgia Tech and their big win. That was a huge win for that program. That was a really big win for that program. I can't say that enough. I said that, and several chats were going while this game was going on. That was a monstrous win for that program. So the question moving forward, which we'll find out as the season progresses, is Georgia Tech really that good, or was Florida State really that bad? That's the question that needs to be answered. But for the purposes of that game, Georgia Tech was the better team. Well, maybe with exception to the kicking game. And even then, Georgia Tech won by a field goal. But Florida State's kicker, God bless him. And Colin, I'm gonna let you give me something on that.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, this game, I mean, it was great. It was a great kickoff game. I mean, all from start to finish. I mean, it started off great, and it ended with a kind of a nail biter there. I mean, but I'm with you though. I'm anxious to see what Georgia Tech does the rest of the season, and and it's absolutely a dagger for FSU because I mean, after everything that happened last year, and then other things, I mean, I would like to have seen them win, but I mean, at the same point, I definitely didn't pick. I didn't pick Georgia Tech to win this game. I don't think many people did. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
I don't think it's going to be a blowout like some folks, but I mean, some folks thought it was going to be a blowout, but it wasn't. I mean, I thought it was going to be a good game, but I did not pin Georgia Tech with it. But all in all, it was great. Great game for me. And just for the price of admission was the field goals that dude was kicking. So I mean, it
Oh
was
yeah.
insane. But
Listen, every NFL scout in America by now has seen that footage, and I don't know what year that young man is, what his class status is, but they're going to be keeping an eye on him for sure, for sure.
yeah,
I will say this. Um, I don't know what I'm going to say. I think you said it for me. But the thing about it is, I don't think that Florida State's season is over per se. It's just the one game, and because the format is different, they still have an opportunity to get in.
hmm
But the question for me, is, what kind of quarterback talent did Mike Norvell have that the best option he had to start that game was DJU?
yeah. I was
You know
going
what
to
I
ask you
mean?
the question. Yeah, I was going to ask you who was the backup, and was he the starter at the beginning of the season, or did he beat? I don't even see anybody going. I mean, like there was nobody in except for him. Nobody came in. I mean, he had 193 yards, and I mean, he had no picks. I mean, that's I guess that's something to be said. But you got a good
Yeah,
point.
but let's think about this for a minute, though. They had 69, the first drive, which I missed. They had 60 some odd yards rushing during that first drive. They accumulated 90 total yards rushing during the game. So what does that tell you? Georgia Tech made the adjustments.
Mhm.
We talk about Kirby being a guy that can do that in-game adjustments. They made the
Yeah.
in-game adjustments, Georgia Tech did, and they
Mhm.
essentially shut the run game down. And as we saw, all DJ had in his arsenal was swing
Yeah.
passes and dump passes. He had a couple of, he took a couple of shots downfield, but they were either well defended or overthrown.
Yeah, there was like
So
a stat saying that in the air pass was like a negative 1.5 yards or something, 1.5 yards negative
yeah,
in the air pass. So yeah, to your point.
yeah, yeah. We got more questions. Sean is keeping the questions coming. Those of you that are watching, please do not hesitate to jump in the comment section. We'll answer your questions. Best. What have we been seeing from UGA this upcoming season? To be completely honest, I'm gonna have to fall back to my earlier answer. I have to see. We had more returning starters than I thought we would have.
Yeah.
So I have to see how these young guys mesh with the veterans and see what I we know what Kirby brings to the table as a coach. We know what Mike Bobo brings to the table as a coach. I mean, as a Georgia fan, you either love him or hate him. And Georgia fans hated him a couple times during a couple games,
Mhm.
but wound up loving him by the end of the season, and then hating him a little bit after
Yes.
the SEC playoffs, and then loving him again when we tub thumped little Chumbawamba reference there for you, when we tub thumped the Seminoles in the bowl game. So
Yeah.
um, I'm just gonna have to wait and see, Colin. I'm gonna defer this one to you, man, because I don't I young team. A lot of guys I haven't seen. They either got minimal action last year or no action at all. So I'll
Yeah.
have to.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say it all falls back on the seniors. I mean, we've got some young guys, like you said, but we also got guys in a different uniform than they were last year. And I mean, it just remains to see how they mesh with the rest of the guys, and Bobo's scheme, and Kirby, how they take to his coaching style, quote unquote style, which is you know. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Young team. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen it enough either. I mean, anxious to see what Carson comes out fire and seeing what he does. Like I said, I'm anxious to see the scramble ability he's got. What kind of weapons we have. Like I mean, Dominic love it. Bell. See what they do with Bell. Didn't Bell was special teams guy too, right? I mean,
Yes, he
he
was.
was okay.
Yeah, he
So he's
was.
all over
He,
the field.
he was bomb. He was bomb. He was like Shaggy back in the 90s and the 2000 bombastic.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's right. That's right. But I mean, I agree with you 110. It's going to take. I mean, like I said, this game is going to mean a lot because I mean, it'll show us what we what we have. I mean, honestly I think we do have a lot of young guys, but you know how we roll. It seems that they sit on the or they don't sit on the bench. I mean, they're biding their time, and most
yeah.
of them actually they pay attention. You know, what I mean, they have guys
they
in
do.
front of them, that they can learn a heap from, and so let's just. I don't have a whole lot either. I mean, like we got to get this first game under our belt, and then I'll be with
Yeah.
you. I will get my
Trust
notes
me.
out.
Trust me. The eval will be meticulous come next Monday
We
because
will
I'll be
critique.
watching everything.
Yes, sir.
I will probably watch the game, and then I will probably a little technique I learned from Sean is to go back and watch the YouTube replays because then you can catch all the key plays and see things that are happening, and you can
Right.
pause it and rewind it at your own speed. Um,
Right.
to this comment here, he must have some sort of talent because why else would he have been the starting quarterback at 3 different schools, except for one thing, which I don't really want to say out loud because I don't want to club a guy, no pun intended, because their starting quarterback at Clemson is Klubnik. I don't want to club a guy, especially a young guy who's got hopes and aspirations of getting into the NFL and being a quarterback. But it seemed to me as though Norvell did not trust DJ enough to let him do his thing. Now, I tell you what skill set that young man does not have. I wanna know what region of Africa his ancestors come Africa or Jamaican his ancestors come from when he can't run. That boy run like he got on Frankenstein shoes.
Well, let me jump in there real quick. So, I mean, like this. So if he proved it at Oregon, if he proved it at Oregon State, I mean, it begs the question:
Wait a
why
minute,
was
hold on. That's a bar. I gotta get it. There we go. All right, go ahead.
I was trying to get that in before he started laughing. You got me tickling now. But so, all right, if he has all that talent, why was he at 3 schools though? I mean, that begs the question: why did he go? Why did he transfer?
Well, he went to Clemson and played for Dabo, and Dabo demands excellence.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I
Dabo
mean,
demands excellence, and when you had a guy like Trevor Lawrence there, you know, you can't just come in and be the Johnny come lately to come in and just say, "Oh yeah, I can play ball." You ever been okay? It's like this. You know how when you playing pickup ball and the guys are out there hooping and there's some dude standing around and like, "Yo, man, hey, you want to get a run? Yeah, get in with us." It's like, can you hoop? It's like, "Oh yeah, I hoop, bro. I can hoop. I be hooping all the time." And then you get them in there and it's not good. So that's what I'm getting at is that he was very highly touted and he did great things in high school. I don't know if it's the pressure of the lights and the crowd or whatever. He has just not been able to live up to the expectations that have been placed upon him.
yeah.
Um, and that's the big thing. I mean,
So
we saw
someone
it
said
last night.
Someone said that it's better to kind of get in and kind of not graduate for lack of a better term, but get in and get better than to be
Uh-huh.
the greatest, hit the ceiling, and then you have nowhere to go and you get worse. You know what I'm saying? And they kind of put that on him. Like I mean, they kind of categorize him in that fashion. You know what I'm saying? Like he was a great quarterback, and now he was too good for his own good, too good for his own for himself or whatever. And all these other guys, or not all these some of these other guys are gradually, coming to their own. And sometimes it's worse to be as good as you are, and then than the other. I mean, I heard somebody say that. I'm paraphrasing horribly, of course, but
Yeah. And yes,
oh
I
yeah,
did pull out the Shaggy reference. Um, is he better than Bo Nix? No,
mm-mm.
because we saw what happened. Well, I take that back. I'm going to take that back because you did specify better in the Pac-12. He was better in the
Oh
Pac-12,
yeah,
but as you know, he's not just going to be playing against Pac-12 teams if he gets drafted. So, and I saw Bo Nix play in his preseason game the other night, by the way, and he looked relaxed. He looked comfortable in the pocket.
look good.
I mean, I saw him picking up edge rushes and stepping up in the pocket and making plays, or backing up into the pocket and rolling out. He looked very comfortable during that gameplay, and that is the Bo Nix that I think that everybody was expecting to get at Auburn, but he just didn't have the coaching staff around him. Is he like Bo Nix in terms of him being better at the Pac-12? Maybe, but his drawback is that he decided to come back to the East Coast, the ACC, before he got drafted. I mean, he may have had a better. I mean, what made him leave Oregon State if he had such a great career there? Was it just that somebody else there was better, and somebody else came in and was better? That's a question that we'll never know the answer to.
Well, flip side of that, look at Bo Nix. Look who he had coaching him his last year at Oregon. I mean, like look who
the great Dan Lanning. He's in Oregon now. God bless him. But he's still out there. Dan Lanning. Good God, that defense. I can't talk about that enough. But and I'm with you on this as well, Sean. But there have been plenty of guys that played before the star rating system that were just studs coming out of high school. They were going to do this and they were going to do that and they were going to do, or they were studs in college and then they got to the pros and couldn't live up to expectations. I get it. I'm with you. He apparently was. I never saw him play, and I didn't really read up on him and his accomplishments leading into that year. I just knew he was very highly touted, and he got a big 7-figure NIL deal, and he was doing Dr. Pepper commercials with Brian Bosworth. That's all I know. I know what I have seen. So I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yep.
If I were at Oregon State and I had a chance to play at FSU, would I stay at Oregon State? You bet your bippy. Knowing what I left behind at Clemson, if I had been at Clemson and I had, for lack of better word, made a mess in the bed at Clemson, and they said, come play for Oregon State, and I'm showing out there, I'm staying out there. Yeah. Because Bo Nix just showed us you can leave the SEC and go to the Pac-12 and get drafted. Boom. I mean, he's not, and he's going to do big things. He may eventually, I don't know what their depth chart is. I haven't seen the Broncos depth chart yet, but I would put good money on him staying healthy. He'll wind up being a starter in a couple of years, and he will probably do well. So, yeah, I'd stay at Oregon State.
Especially what FSU was going through in Norvell, and I mean that type of situation there. I mean that would be a big factor in my eyes.
I 100%. You can call. I mean, you can call me on it if you think if you don't think I'm being genuine, and you are well within your right to feel so, sir. I'm just telling you, if I was pooping the bed at Clemson and I left town, I'm going to stay over here where I can, I'm going to stay over here at Oregon State and do my thing and continue to excel, because his stats, his overall, the Pac-2, you're right, or the Pac-2 or the Pac-4. But his I mean, but it's just like what Shannon Sharp said. What Bill Davis Sr. told him when he was at Savannah State, son, if you're good enough, they'll find you. And now we live in the age where they can find all of your footage. So, ain't no hateration, holleration is the answer. So we want to move on into our next segment here. Those of you just tuning in, appreciate you, whether you're watching the replay or you're watching us live. Drop us a comment and let you know you were here. Drop us a like, drop us a share, let us know that you've been here. But we do appreciate you tuning in. Mr. Fingaz, live from the 405, Collin P from the DMV. I want to talk about this because we didn't get to touch on it last week, and we're going to have to kind of go through it pretty swiftly. And for the sake of keeping it brief, let's see what we'll
let you loose, man. You were hot. You were hot last week about it, so I'm gonna let you loose on that.
Oh, I was way hot on this thing last week. Let me see here. We'll go through the first maybe 10. God, that's a long list. No, it's a long ass article, bro. I just want the list. Oh man, they put a paywall on this junk.
Yep, I saw that. I was going to tell you about that. I was wondering if you sent me the right link of that. I don't think I need to be
They didn't
inside.
put a paywall on this. They posted, ESPN posted. ESPN posted, okay, here's a free one. All right. Oh, they're ranking first. Oh, everything on it's got a paywall on it. Okay, so we're not going to talk about that today because ESPN is a money grubbing son of a biscuit. So that
give
kills
us
the
give us the
segment.
just there, Fingers. What was
So
grinding your
basically, what
gears?
it is they came up with this computerized system that ranked the top 30 teams that had an opportunity at making it into the CFP. And I was listening to it on the radio, and it was absolutely insane. Notre Dame was at number 4, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we know Notre Dame gets all that love anyway. They get all that love plus the NBC TV contract money. But the one
Yeah,
that made me almost run my car off the road, I'm gonna give you, Colin. I'm gonna give you 2 guesses at who was at number 6.
I know who it is. Penn State.
Yeah, they had Penn State ranked number 6.
Do they have
The
any kind
sixth
of reasoning
most
why?
likely. That's the thing. I was gonna dig into the article and get into it and behind the paywall. And I know I read this article for free someplace else, but of course it's because it's on ESPN. It's behind the paywall. So kiss my butt, Penn State, and kiss my butt, ESPN. So well, that leads us to our last segment of the evening. I'll be watching. Don't worry, Sean. I'll be watching Notre Dame. Don't worry, because I got a home that loves Notre Dame. You know him, my buddy Don, my boy Donnie. Shout out to the homie Donnie. Uh, uh, and I
Yeah,
like watching them because they're one of they have the strangest dynamic. They're one of the most talented teams. I will say they
oh
probably
yeah,
are one of the top 30 most talented teams in college football. Okay, at that level. But then they always got there's just something that just did not quite they just
yeah.
can't quite turn the dial all the way around. So let's go ahead and get into this here. This segment here. We're gonna call it Georgia wins if 2-minute warning this week. Georgia wins if and our final thoughts. So Colin, I'm gonna go to you first. Georgia wins if what? I'll
If
get to that in a minute. Sean. Georgia wins if what?
if well, all right. So you said of our young guys, I mean, especially on defense, if we can, hold, obviously who has the most points at the end of the game wins. But I mean, the defense needs to hold, the Clemson offense, and the line needs to hold, get to the back, get to the quarterback, get the backfield. I mean, I'm always, I always harp on that every time we get on the podcast here. I think, if we can get to the backfield and make the quarterback make bad decisions, maybe some picks here and there. That's ultimately what makes us win this ball game. But then again, we need to score points as well and score at will. And I want to see us run the ball, not be afraid to take a shot downfield. That's the biggest thing too.
Well,
So,
I agree with you taking shots downfield. One thing that I want to see, and it is plagued us every season, even in the championship season, stalled drives. We need these
yeah,
drives. We need more complete drives. We need to be able to assert more dominance. Like one thing, especially during the 2022 season, you would see where Georgia would come out and rattle off 2 straight touchdowns and then couldn't get in the end zone for the whole second quarter and then
yeah,
come back in the third quarter and then turn it back on or just hold them off at bay.
yeah,
Like the old trope of the bully holding the 98-pound weakling at bay with one arm while the kid's just flailing away, you know.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I want to see more of those complete drives. We know that Kirby's going to cut Carson loose and let him fling the ball around the field.
You know what I don't want to see though? I don't want to see us giving up that first touchdown. I don't want to see that. I don't
Oh
want to see that.
no, because we did that the last time. We did that the last
I don't
time we
know.
played the
I
first
don't want
game,
to say that anymore.
and that one was a nail biter, 100%. Georgia wins if. Georgia wins if. Well, hell, I gave you my answer.
Yeah,
Georgia wins
you
if they
did.
play a complete game of football, both sides of the ball, defense in the quarterback's face, offense clicking on all 8 cylinders. We bring in the V8 to Atlanta. We're not driving the little 6-cylinder.
Well, hell,
We're not driving the 4-cylinder Prius with the half electric engine. We driving the Camaro SS with the 4 on the floor, 350 horsepower. But that's what we driving down in Atlanta. And so we need to, go ahead and get that sucker on down the track, lay the pedal down and lay some
keep
rubber
it.
on the road and run up and down the field on these guys. I think that's the biggest thing is establishing dominance.
I agree.
Clemson is a team that has, in the wake of Trevor Lawrence, the Trevor Lawrence era, has struggled a little bit to find their identity. I mean, they went 9-4 last year. They've kind of struggled to find their identity, and there's nothing more to give a team. You saw perfect example this past Saturday. Georgia Tech, long the laughing stock of the ACC, beat mighty 10th ranked FSU. You can't tell me those boys, and it was in Ireland too. You can't tell me they didn't go downtown and have themselves a couple of pints with some of the lasses downtown, and then come back to Atlanta with all the swag.
Yep, no doubt.
So they're ready. They're ready for next week. And I think that that's what Georgia has to do is establish dominance and establish it early and maintain it. And that's what I think would be the keys to that game. And keeping turnover, and as always, keeping turnovers to a minimum.
0.
Y'all hear me, fellas, right? Keep turnovers to a minimum. So that's where that is. Now, and running, establish a running game because while we were close in statistics 5 and 6 in passing defense, Clemson was ranked number 22 in rushing defense last season. And they're only bringing back 11 starters, and those starters are spread between offense and defense. So it's not like they're bringing back their whole defense or their whole offense. So that's a area to exploit. And trust me, if Kirby does how Kirby does, he's probably game plan for that already. Oh man, we got Nathan Snell in the house. Thank you for joining us, sir. And of course, Sean says it win the turnover battle 100%. Now, of course, we be the ones creating the turnovers and not, giving any up. Now, let's back up a little bit. Who would you have over Penn State? Come on, Sean. Come on, man. Like you already got Georgia. Georgia was at the top. Behind them was Ohio State. Michigan was like 10th or something like that. Like Penn State was ranked ahead of Michigan. I know they got a new coach, but Penn State was ranked 10th.
Do you remember where Alabama was? Do you remember?
Who Alabama was, I believe, 4th or 5th.
Okay.
Who would I have over Penn State? Hell, I'd give it to Texas before I give it to Penn State. And we gotta play them this year. I would give it to. I would even give it to. What's that?
Ole Miss.
Oh, Ole Miss was ranked. Ole Miss was in the double digits, like in the 20s. They weren't even close. I mean, I don't remember all the schools. I just remember specific ones they called out when I was listening to the radio story because I was like, really? Yeah. That's what y'all thinking? That's what y'all doing? I mean, Lane Kiffin might not be a world beater, but he's built a great program there at Ole Miss. I mean, it's become Ole Miss has become competitive. Like Ole Miss could potentially. I'd have to pull their schedule, but Ole Miss could potentially have like a 2-loss season this season, maybe 3, and that's pretty par for the course, and that's damn good compared to when we started rolling the clock back. But yeah, that's what I got there. So, where was Texas ranked. Again, Sean, if I could pull this article, I would tell you. I mean, I ran to the internet to find this article, and I was on my way to work and in the car, so I could not pull it up and read it adequately. And then I pull it up here, and now it's got a paywall on it. I think it was free the first couple days it was posted, and now they got a paywall on it. That's what
Yeah.
ESPN is doing now. Thank you, Thank you, Disney. We appreciate you so much. Keep giving us more Star Wars movies. They're great.
Oh man, Last Acolyte. No,
I'm sorry. That I didn't mean to do shots fired. That was just
Bang bang.
oh,
Bang,
man.
bang.
Man, oh man. So I think we got our score predictions for the game. We both have Georgia winning by at least 12 to 13 points.
Yeah.
Which is right along with the spread, which was at 14 when we started the show. Then it dropped down to 13 and a half, and I'm looking at it still at 13 and a half. So by game day, do you think that'll move by game day?
I don't know. I'm surprised. You're saying that it moved that quickly. I mean, like people putting on,
Yeah, it moved by a whole.
point.
It moved by a whole point within the first 10 minutes of the show.
That's crazy.
It's
I
still
don't
at
know.
13 and a half right now.
Yeah, you know what? I think it'll go probably a point, maybe a point and a half. I bet it will. I bet it'll go down at least 12.
Yeah. One of the things that they need is that they definitely need their returning starting running back for Clemson. They're going to need their starting running back. There's Phil Maffa. He's going to have to step his game up. Kid ran for 965 last year. That's pretty doggone good. On a 9-win team, that's pretty doggone good. Only problem is no TDs. How you run for 965 yards and don't score a touchdown?
That's impressive.
And I think right there we identified part of the problem with last season. Hey Nate, we appreciate that sentiment, brother. We definitely hope so. I would love to see him go back and win another one. 3 and 4 years. We just gonna have to. If that happens, if that were to happen, we are going to have to start working on the calm down. The RELAX. We're gonna have to work on that with our fellow Georgia fans, because the first thing they'll start saying is, "Oh, we got another dynasty. This guy's gonna catch Saban." Y'all calm down, because
I think we need a couple more. We need more than 2 more before I start hollering dynasty. I never was one to call or holler dynasty. I mean, like we need at least two more for me personally.
Out of Kirby, or just period.
Oh, well, I mean, I would say out of Kirby. Yeah, Kirby.
Yeah, because you know what? I'll take them too. That's great.
Oh yeah, no, your
boy Dabo got a couple, and now your boy Dabo got a couple. And again, we're now discussing the 9 and 4 Clemson Tigers. So I don't want to get ahead of myself. I don't want to be that person. And come on, Sean, we are two of the most optimistic, pessimistic fans you will ever see in your life. It's like we want to see it happen, but we're not going to celebrate it until it happens. So this is all hypothetical. If Georgia was to win a couple more while Kirby's still there. Now, Kirby, we could definitely say Kirby had a mini dynasty. But I won't just go running around. I won't go running around going dynasty if we win one this year, because that's not even it. Belichick had a dynasty. Bear Bryant had a dynasty. Nick Saban had a dynasty. We got 2 trophies in the case in the last 3 years, which is still damn good. And I'll take it.
You know what I want to see also, the change with the changing of the rules of this year, that obviously with the 12-team playoff, they got the no longer the tiebreakers, no longer the championship conference championship. That's no longer the tiebreaker, like what happened to us last year. So that would no longer be a tiebreaker in order to go to the playoffs. So
there's 8 more slots now as opposed to 4.
Yeah, well, I mean,
if you can't come in and look, it used to be 12 people we wanted to invite to the cookout every year. We only had 4 chairs. Now, now we got 12 chairs. If you can't figure out a way to get in one of them 12 chairs, you don't need no tiebreaker. You just need to go sit down somewhere.
Well, that begs the question: how many SEC teams do you think is going to be in this 12-team playoff? I mean, that's going to. I mean,
based on what I'm seeing, Georgia, it either be Texas or Oklahoma, one of them two. It just Oklahoma is contingent on what their quarterback does. Georgia, either Texas or Oklahoma. Bama's got a good shot to get in. I still think they want to go back and get one more for Coach for Nick, even though he retired. Tennessee has a good shot at it, but we'll see, and that will be easily determined. You can basically by week 3 you can see where Tennessee's going to wind up.
What's your number though? Give me a number. Yeah, what's your number? 3. Okay,
3.
And yeah, Sean, I agree with you. There's going to be a lot of drama. That's why I said the people still going to be grappling, even though it's 12.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know it is mathematically impossible because we all play each other in conference play, but let's just say the best 12 teams in the country are all from the SEC. Like, you could look at it with a slide rule and everything and say, yep, these are the best teams. And Neil deGrasse Tyson comes in and verifies it. He says, yeah, these guys are definitely, you could with a time-space continuum and a DeLorean potentially find another alternate dimension where this isn't so, but these guys are the best 12 teams, and somebody somewhere will be salty. You know what would be funny? If Florida State was fighting for the 12th playoff spot and they didn't get it. I mean, I'm not trying to dog them, but Ben, shout out to our guy, Ben Cornett. Have at it. Check him out. Don't forget to check out Nathan Snell. He's on all the time, every time.
You know what, though? I mean, I honestly think it's going to happen. Somebody's going to throw a wrench. One team's going to throw a wrench and throw everybody. God, I hope it doesn't happen to us. but I'm saying somebody is going to throw a wrench in there and just ruin somebody's world.
Well, if this season goes the way that it started off with Tech upsetting Florida State, it wouldn't surprise me if some team needed a win to get in, and some other team that was more than likely gonna get the 12th spot lost. It would not surprise me.
Yeah.
The best 12 teams. Hey, Sean, I'm saying is
prove us wrong though. Prove us wrong.
No, I didn't say that the best 12 teams were from the SEC.
No, you didn't.
I just said that, huh?
No, you didn't. You're right. No, you didn't.
I was just saying if somehow or another, and I did clarify that by saying it's not mathematically possible because we all had to play each other. But if the best 12 teams in the country were unequivocally from the SEC, period, some team in 13th place would still gripe and say, well, we had 6 wins, we deserve to get in. That's all.
Yeah. Moral of the story is you can't make everybody happy. Can't make everybody happy because, I mean, they're doing it right by doing the 12, but, I mean, still you ain't going to make everybody happy. So.
Dude, as is, I can tell you already who from the SEC is not going to the playoffs. Arkansas. Mississippi State. Sorry, Vandy Chris, but Vanderbilt. South Carolina. Sorry, Will. That's 4. And there's 14 teams now?
Yeah.
Florida probably won't go. Then again, they could surprise us.
They could.
I've seen stranger things happen in the 3rd year of a 5-year contract where the coach is just struggling and he needs to make a statement. God, why am I struggling for A&M. Mississippi State. I think I said them already, right?
I think you did.
Shoot, I'm up to 6 or 7 now, and that's half. That's half the conference. But out of that, like Georgia, I stick by it. Like I'm going with the Old Faithful for the last few years. Georgia, Bama, Tennessee, Florida. Georgia, Bama, Tennessee, Ole Miss. There's some people that are saying that Missouri might even make a little noise. I don't know. Kentucky's not going. Sorry, Chloe. Love you. So that's where that is.
Yeah, I can see that. Anyway, all story short, it's going to be an amazing season. It's almost here. Can't wait for it to get here. So let's see how the cards may fall.
Sean Spencer, I already know that, man. I know that. I was just saying, again, this is a hypothetical situation. Look, it's just like that math equation that everybody's arguing over on Facebook right now. Again, for the second time in 3 years. I know it's a hypothetical situation. This all hypothetical. That's when you got to put a needle in your neck because you're allergic to peanuts. Oh, that's hypoallergenic. My bad. I'm just playing. I just playing. I knew exactly what I was saying. I know what I said.
How do you sleep?
I know what I said.
Mattress. Is that commercial? How do you sleep? On a certain mattress. I sleep well.
Yeah, but I mean, realistically speaking,
yeah,
based on without having played any games right now, before week 1 kicks off, Georgia, Tennessee, Bama, potentially Ole Miss. Now,
yeah,
they won't all. Will they all go? Anyhow, we've done a whole lot of talking. Sean is right. We do get the we've been babbling on and rattling off at the mouth, but yeah, realistically speaking, that's yeah. Anyhow, we appreciate you guys to see. Look, you got me. I almost started off on something else again. Sean Spencer, listen, Sean Spencer, I have not come out the whole show. I just been sitting over here. Sipping my cognac. You know, I got my own cognac now. You know, you go over there, check it out. It's just Club Shay Shay. That's right there. That's the stuff. You know, I just sitting in my corner. And then Sean Spencer, you thought you just come in here starting some stuff. Don't have me start something before 2 something and after 2 something. We appreciate y'all for tuning in today's episode. This week. Why?
Hey, hold up. Sean Spencer, if you're still there, man, when are y'all going in your college? They got a college podcast. I just wonder if they're coming this weekend.
I think
and you guys are
hit us offline in the messenger and let us know what's going on with that. We appreciate you guys tuning in to today's episode of This Week in UGA Football. It has been a pleasure. We're glad to be back. Oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, your boy Reverend Red and Black, he sent me a text message. He said to expect him somewhere in the next couple of weeks. So he will be showing up. And knowing Rev, he might show up before this Saturday's game. Ain't no telling. It takes him a long time. To pray, but it also takes him a long time to get from point A to point B too. He moves just like he prays, slowly and deliberately. So y'all take care of yourselves. But until next week, I have been Mr. Fingaz live from the 405. That is Collin P. from the DMV. We appreciate y'all. We will see you next week, hopefully with a W in the column.
Go Dogs.